Tune in. All right, it says we're live. I believe we are live. I hope we're live. I hope this worked. All right. Well, hello, everyone. It is me, Fox, as always. I am joined by my special guest, Ryan from RWR Movie Reviews. And tonight we will be discussing our top 10 favorite superhero movies.
All right,
yes.
man. You got me on
Yes.
for it. I think some people they may be surprised with some of my picks, so I'm interested to share these and see what people think. Maybe some people might be mad. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, superhero movies are my favorite genre of movie, so this was kind of difficult for me.
Mhm.
How big of a fan are you of superhero movies? Like
It
just in
depends with
general?
me. In general, I'm more of a DC man over Marvel, just because. Yeah, I've talked about it before a little bit on my channel, but and some other streams. But for me, like superhero movies, I like mine to be a little bit more serious than jokey. Some of them they work, but there some of the Marvel movies that I've noticed that have like a lot of jokes. Most of the time, I'm usually not as much of a fan of them. I like that darker content. I think is what it is, but sometimes it works. The jokes work. I just don't like too many jokes. I think is what it is. Like
Like
something
Thor
like
Love and Thunder?
yeah, like Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, that's too much for me. That I can't handle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just depends. Like it really varies with me. Some I could watch more than others. Just depends.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, like my comfort genre, if that makes sense, where it's like I'll have a good time with pretty much any superhero movie, even
Yeah,
if it's extremely generic, like Black Adam. Extremely generic, but I had a great time with it. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's all.
Um, yeah. Um, Also, before we get into this, I should have done this before I asked you that question. Ryan, you should tell everyone about your channel
Yeah, man.
because a
So
lot of people probably haven't heard of you before who
yeah,
are
man.
just
So I'm
viewers of
Ryan
me.
from RWR Movie Reviews. I pretty much cover movies. I like to do a lot of the smaller movies. I cover the big stuff too. Cover stuff in theaters. Cover stuff on streaming. I do a lot of horror reviews. I do stuff with Shutter. I do Blu-ray hauls every month. I also sometimes go out to Best Buy and do a little bit of vlogs. I just tackled a new vlog yesterday where I visited a castle and I did that for the first time on my channel. I am going to be doing more kind of things like that because it seems like some people actually enjoyed that. So I'm planning to do some other places and shoot there and see what people think. Have some other places in mind. So that's something I'm getting into. And I might try to do some other videos and switch it up and just have different stuff on the channel. I'm always looking to expand and do something a little bit different and not just have the same content all the time just to have a little bit of variety because I know some people like certain videos I do and certain other videos that I do. So it just depends. So yeah, I like to cover everything if I can. I may even throw in some music in there. I thought about doing that too. You know?
Yeah, I don't have any interesting like takes on music. I listen to like the same 5 songs on repeat, so me
Yeah.
talking about music is a disaster.
I think for
Yeah.
me, my general audience, I don't think they probably like the music that I like because I like a lot of heavier stuff. I like rock and I guess some pop, but not really a lot. Like I don't listen to a lot of stuff on the radio really. Like the top hits. Me, I'm more like the underground music. Like on Spotify, I'm always listening to like the underground, some small band I've never heard of before. I like supporting that. I've always been like that, and I've always been the same way with movies. I love talking about the smaller movies and just informing people about stuff they wouldn't know about because a lot of people superhero movies are fine, don't get me wrong, but I really would like others to branch out and watch other stuff as well because there's a lot of good stuff out there that you can really broaden your mind to. And sometimes there's other movies out there that it can really make you think a little bit. And I like movies that let me, think a little bit and think about current situations that you're in or past situations. So, yeah, I mean, I think movies all in general, if you like movies, you'll like my channel.
Yes, yes. So, now let's get to what we are all here for, our top 10 favorite superhero movies. Now, when we we decided to do 5 honorable mentions too, so we'll start with that because 10 isn't enough.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah. So, Ryan, what is your first honorable mention?
All right, so my first honorable mention, it's not really, I would say, like a movie that I think a lot of people liked, but I have Birds of Prey.
Oh, yes, Birds of Prey. Yes, I like that one quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I,
really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people when it came out, they were kind of really critical about it, but I really enjoyed it. I really like Margaret Robbie in general. I think she's great with that character, and I think I do think though, I don't know if she's done with character. Is Lady Gaga taking over? Is Harley Quinn? I think.
um, I think that's just for the Joker sequel.
Is that for the Joker? Okay, but
Mhm.
I like her as the character. I think she does a great job at it. I mean, it helps that she's really good looking too. So you know.
Yeah, that's like one of those comic book casting pairs that's just like on fire, where it's like every single time that you see Harley Quinn or hear of Harley Quinn,
Mhm.
you think of Margot Robbie. Now, pretty much, it's like one of those. What am I trying to say? Hugh Jackman Wolverine situations, I would say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It may also be
Yeah.
because of the fact that we haven't really had a lot of people, I guess, play that character, maybe too. So you kind of
Yeah.
like get used to that character, like them representing that character too. So that may be something as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else taking that character. I mean, could somebody else do it? Probably, but could they do it as good as her? I don't know.
Yeah, I've always liked Birds of Prey quite a bit. I've always thought of it as the DCEU's Deadpool in a way,
Mm,
because kind of like the out of order story, the like it's R-rated, the violence, the humor, all that stuff. But yeah, I've always really liked Birds of Prey. I've thought it's kind of overhated at some points.
yeah,
At some point, like when it came out, people were like, "Oh, this isn't very good," and I saw it. I was like, I actually enjoyed that." So,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
Me and
that's
my wife both
a
enjoyed
great
it when we
pick.
saw it in theaters. It's a good time.
Yeah. All right. So my first honorable mention is going to be Joker, um,
Nice.
the Joaquin Phoenix one. Yes. I was extremely skeptical going into this. I'm like, how do you make a Joker movie? And it came out around my birthday, and so that was like my birthday movie that year. And I saw it, and I was like, this is incredible.
Mm,
Like, just his performance, and he definitely deserved the Oscar he got for it. It's a very different superhero movie. I think that's kind of what I like about it. I like when superhero movies do something different and they can stand out against stuff. It's very dark. Um, I would say it's pretty realistic
mm.
too. Um, yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, I Joker has always been a character that I've really liked. I love that dark dynamic of his character. I find it really interesting in Joker how they find a way to his character's really dark. You can definitely see where he has issues in his mind, and at the same time it's one of those movies that really kind of builds and builds, and when he like snaps in that movie and he goes like full on killing people, it's done in a really artsy way. It's a very I would say it's a very artsy film and
Yeah,
dark at the same time.
kind of a prestigious, I guess, superhero comic book movie. It's not really a superhero movie, I guess. It's more of a comic book movie, but whatever.
Yeah, with me and my wife, we were debating about that too, when we were talking about superhero movies, and she's like, "Well, I don't know if that's technically a superhero movie," but I'm like, it's part of comics.
DC,
So I mean, I guess
yeah,
I mean he's not a superhero, but you know, it's part of that universe in general. So I think
yeah.
it qualifies, and he does a phenomenal job in the role. Um,
I
I still
remember.
think
Oh, I remember thinking no one's gonna ever come close to what Heath Ledger did, and then
right.
I saw that, and it's a very different take on Joker
Hmm.
in Joker rather than The Dark Knight. But I was like, that's really good, and that's a very worthy Joker to talk about
Hmm.
amongst like in the likes of Heath Ledger as well.
Yeah, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say, I think he's the closest, we could have gotten to Heath Ledger because Heath Ledger, he's a legend at that role. I just don't. I did never thought that anybody would touch him in that role, and I think Joaquin Phoenix, in general, Joaquin Phoenix, when as an actor, and not just the Joker, he when he gets into a role, he embodies that role. That is the role, and I've heard when they're not filming, I've heard that he still is embodied in the role the whole time, even off, the camera,
Off camera, yeah.
which is crazy. I mean, that tells you how dedicated somebody is to that role. And I think also for Joker, if I'm not mistaken, I think he lost significant amount of weight
Yeah, I
to
think I remember hearing that too, yeah.
yeah, which is nuts. I mean, anybody that does that for a role, I mean, that's a lot of dedication to do something like that. You're transferring your body to be in a certain role,
Yeah,
whether you're
yeah.
being skinny or bigger or whatever the case may be. I
Mhm.
mean, that's dedication. So you have to give him a lot of props for that,
Definitely deserve that Oscar.
for sure.
All right. So what is your next honorable mention, sir?
So my next honorable mention, some people may be mad that this is down here, but I put No Way Home.
This was on my draft list for one of my honorable mentions. To be
Really?
honest. Yeah, it was. Yes.
Yeah, I like the movie. Don't get me wrong; it's a good movie. I just didn't feel like it was in my top 10, but I like the movie. It's a good movie for sure. Um, I think in general, it's great to have all three of them on screen. And I think it's only a matter of time before we get, one of them back on the screen or even all of them on screen in some way or shape or form. I'm sure as the timeline goes down, down the road, I think that we'll get all three of them back on screen again at some point. I think they know that's where the money is. I mean, it showed during that movie. I mean, people were watching that movie 3, 4, 5 times in the theater. So, yeah, So once you're doing that, they know it's a moneymaker. And then, they did the re-release. Did you see the extra fun edition? I didn't get to see it, but
I didn't get a chance to.
yeah, but I mean, they're gonna do more stuff like that, and that's where the money is. So, I mean, it's a great movie, no doubt. It just wasn't in my top 10.
Yeah, I think personally it's my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Mm,
I'm not like the biggest Spider-Man fan, like in
mm,
general, but yeah, No Way Home was awesome. Um, a lot of that is seeing it opening night, like the Thursday opening night with the packed theater and everyone just going crazy when all this fun fan service stuff, whether it's the old villains or the Spider-Man together, like that was just a really cool theater experience. And it's just a really fun movie too.
yeah, I agree. It was definitely a good time in the theater, and I think that was one of the few times that I went to the theater this year where it was actually really packed. A lot of times when I go, it's not really that many people, but for that one, I think I went. I want to say I went maybe like on a Saturday night or something like that. Maybe even been during the week. I can't remember now, but there was a lot of people in there. It was definitely a jam packed theater, and hearing the reactions from everybody, especially when all three of them were on screen, and just how the movie went down. It was good to hear everybody's reactions. I think that's one of those movies that it's good to have a full audience. I think some movies are kind of better when you have that full audience experience, especially during something like that kind of movie, because it was
That's an event film, yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
that's the last film, with Tom Holland supposedly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I saw it twice opening weekend and then I went a few weeks later, so I was just like, I'm bored one night. I just want to go see something. I went
Mm.
and saw it some random night in the middle of the week and the whole theater was packed still. So yeah, that's one of those movies that well, it made like almost $2 billion, I think. So yeah, people definitely went and
Crazy.
saw it a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like I said, it's such an epic movie in scale as far as the cast and just what they did to put the movie together and all the villains, and it just I don't think any of us really envisioned all three Spider-Mans on screen, at least for me, because I know I'm a little bit older, but I just never thought that I'd see Tobey Maguire back in the Spider-Man suit again, just because it's been so long. And he doesn't really do a lot of movies really anymore. He doesn't really act very much at all anymore. So it was really interesting to see him on screen again. And then Andrew Garfield, I feel like they kind of did him a little dirty Just how they built
Right.
that series, and they didn't finish it. They only had two
Hmm.
movies.
Yeah.
So to see him back in that costume as well, I mean, it was great to see it. So
Hmm.
couldn't help but
Yeah.
smile seeing all three of them on screen.
Yeah. I just rewatched No Way Home because I was rewatching the MCU. I just
Mhm.
rewatched it for the first time outside of theaters, and I mean, even without the theater experience of people going nuts and whatever, it was still awesome. So,
Yeah,
yeah. No Way Home, definitely a good one.
yeah, for sure.
All right. My next honorable mention is going to be X-Men Days of Future Past.
Nice.
Yes.
So I'll have you know that I have seen only a couple of the X-Men movies. So I'm gonna be honest with you. So the Days of Future Past, I did watch in a theater, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember anything from it. I just had like a bunch of friends that like dragged me and was like, "Go watch this movie." I'm like, I've never watched like any of them. So X-Men,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I never like had a big connection with them growing up as superheroes. I've said it on my channel before. Like most of my superhero growing up with superheroes, it was Batman and Spider Man. So those are always the ones that I gravitate towards the most. X Men was not a show that I really watched growing up as much. And I don't know. I guess for some reason I just didn't watch X Men growing up. I did do this year. I think it was this year. I did a collab with Anthony Perez, and I watched the first X Men. I did watch that one, and that one was all right. It wasn't too bad. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember Days of Future Past at all, so I don't have a lot of
Uh,
commenting on that.
yeah. I think watching Days of Future Past is definitely better if you've seen all the other ones because
Mm,
it relates to all of the other ones. So
mm,
yeah, so I can understand that. But yeah, I remember seeing this one in theaters, and it's besides like X-Men solo movies, this is my favorite like X-Men movie
mm.
because I love seeing the old cast of characters with the new cast of characters with the whole time travel stuff. It's just this is just like getting the whole X-Men team together. This is my favorite one of those movies. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
would love to watch them, dude. If anything, we could do a collab on it, and like we could watch through them all, dude. I would love to
All
watch
the
them.
X-Men movies.
I mean, I got Disney Plus, so I think they're all on there. So
Oh yeah, they are on Disney Plus now. I forgot about that.
yeah, because they own Fox or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would love to watch them all. I haven't watched really any of them, and I did watch that one in the theater. I remember, and I think I got dragged to see Apocalypse, but I don't remember them. They were forever ago. So
Yeah, they're the X-Men movies, they're not the ones I watch all the time,
mm,
but when I do watch them, I always have a good time with them. So yeah.
yeah,
Real quick before we move on,
yeah,
we have some comments. Let's Unholy Squid, Birds of Prey was amazing. Ewan McGregor was an amazing Black Mask, and I love seeing Zazie. I don't know what that
nice.
last word is, but yes, Ewan McGregor did a really good job in that movie.
I agree.
I will agree with that. He's a great actor. Uh, I preferred Far From Home over No Way Home, so I agree with you being outside the top 10. Yeah, I like Far From Home quite a bit too. I mean,
With
um,
That's the one with Magneto, right? I mean, sometimes I get confused on those.
Mysterio.
Mysterio, not Magneto.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I'm someone that doesn't think there's really a bad Spider-Man movie, like even Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 I enjoy.
mhm,
So, yeah, personally I don't think there's a bad Spider-Man movie.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's just me. I
Yeah,
Yeah, I still really enjoy No Way Home. I enjoy all Spider-Man movies.
yeah, I own them all. I honestly think though, Far From Home was probably my least favorite from the Tom Holland trilogy. I don't know. I don't know if it was the villain or what it was, but I just remember seeing it in theaters. I went with my wife and my best friend, and we kind of walked out a little bit disappointed with that one. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it was the vibe or how they had it, but I would say that's my least out of the three. It's probably the least that I've watched out of the three too, because
I would
I've seen Homecoming and Far From Home. Well, I've only technically seen Far From like twice. So, but yeah.
I would agree with all of that. All right, your next honorable mention.
So my next honorable mention is Wonder Woman, the first one. So Yeah, Wonder Woman. I really like Gail Gadot as I think it's Gadot or Gadot, something like that.
One of those.
I've heard her name pronounced different ways, but I think she's really good as Wonder Woman as well. I mean, but then again, I never watched the cartoons or seen anybody else in that role. So, but I think like she does really good in that role. I will say that 84 I didn't really like as much, like at all. I own it. My best friend, he bought me the steel book, and I was like, dude, you know I don't like this movie, right? And but he's like, dude, but it was on discount. And I was like, all right, whatever. But I haven't watched it since. I remember watching it at home, that 84, and I just hated it. But compared to the first one, though, the first one it's a pretty solid film. Again, it's not one of my top, but it's very close. I love the visuals in that. I love the backstory as well with that one. And I just think they did a really good job of building the story and building her character. And yeah, it's a fun movie in general.
Yeah, I like the first Wonder Woman. It's not one of my favorites though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never been as high on it as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be, but just like the more times I watch it, the more that I say I don't like it as much, but I still like it. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
movie I still like. It's just not a movie that I'd say I love.
I
But
got
yeah,
you. Makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I have a good time with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I said it's
It's
not
a lot
top
better
tier,
than.
but
It's definitely better than Wonder Woman 84.
dude, that movie shit.
I I went to the theaters with two of my friends on Christmas actually to watch that the year it came out,
Mm-hmm.
and we all walked out and were like, that just wasn't good. And I didn't watch it again until I rewatched the whole DCEU for my DCEU ranking last month,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched it and I was just like, how did this get made? This is just woof. I was like,
Yeah, I watched it at home with my wife. I think it was on like HBO Max or something. I can't remember. But
yeah, I think they did that day in
yeah, the
theater,
dual
day
thing.
at home thing. Yeah, the dual thing.
Yeah, and I was watching at home, dude. And I was falling asleep. It was not
I
very
wish
good.
I could have fallen asleep. Dang, I do
It was
not like
not
that
very
movie
good.
at all.
Yeah, man, I haven't
Yeah,
revisited it since. So
yeah, it
that tells
doesn't get
you
better. Doesn't
that
get better
well.
on rewatch.
Well,
Okay.
that's the thing too. Like Best Buy, they have a ton of those steel books. You go into Best Buy, they have like stacks of them. It's like you guys are
hmm
gonna have to put that for like $1 or something because
You
there's
put it for a
no.
dollar, and I might consider buying it.
Because I mean that thing has been. I mean it's been on sale. They've had stacks of them forever.
Yeah, my Best Buys too.
Yeah,
All right. My next honorable mention is going to be The Batman from this year.
that's a great
Yes.
movie.
Yes, I this was my second most anticipated movie this year. Um I went into this movie pretty much as blind as possible, didn't watch any like the Comic-Con trailers. I tried avoiding the trailers in the theaters. I was just like a new Batman movie. It's the dude from Twilight and
Yeah,
something about the Riddler. And so I didn't know what this movie was going to be, and I was just blown away at how incredible the story was. It's such a departure from all the other Batman movies that we've gotten recently, where they're more action oriented, and this one's more like noir crime detective story. And
hmm
I just thought it was incredible. Mm.
yeah. It was a really good movie. Robert Pattinson. There was a lot of people having doubt that he could pull off the role, but I thought he did a phenomenal job. I think he's a
Yeah,
phenomenal actor. A lot of people they've given him shit with the Twilight thing, but I honestly
just because
think,
Twilight.
yeah, I think a lot of people that have given him shit for Twilight, I don't think they've watched his other movies because he's in smaller movies, but
hmm
some of his smaller movies are really good.
Yeah,
I
he's a
have a
great actor.
yeah,
He's a
he
great
is.
actor.
I've there have been some other movies that I've watched of his that I really like. There's a movie called Remember Me that he was in, and there was another one called High Life, which is an A24 movie.
I
He
have
puts on.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to check out the lighthouse that he's in. I want to check that out at
Yeah,
some
he's
point.
really good in that too. Even though that wasn't like a movie I really liked in general, but his acting's great in that. So I think he's a good actor. So I think he really does pull it off in that movie, even though it's a 3 hour runtime and it kind of has that slow burn feel to it. It's really dark, and it's just the way that how they created Gotham in that one, and how the city is just like so trashy, and like they do a really good job of having that city be like it is. And just I even like Catwoman in that. She did a really good job as well. And yeah, I just
Also, Colin Farrell as the Penguin was really
yeah,
good. Like
yeah.
you, like I didn't like if I didn't know that was Colin Farrell like from the
Mhm.
credits, I couldn't have told you that was Colin Farrell. Like he did a phenomenal job, and he's an awesome actor, Colin Farrell.
He
He's
is, and they did really good job with his makeup as well
prosthetics,
in that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm really interested to see where they go with the second one. I guess now, since like the city is all kind of flooded out, um, who knows what they'll do at this point. So that's going to be interesting. I know some people have said they really wanted Mr. Freeze to come back, so that would be really cool. But yeah, I
Just
don't know.
take the Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin. Don't change anything, and put it in this one.
Put Arnold in there.
Yeah, put Arnold in there. All the puns about ice and stuff it'll work perfectly.
Oh boy, I can't imagine. I can't imagine him being in that movie again. Um, just I don't know, man.
Batman and Robin. I watched. I know I had seen it before, but I
Mhm,
revisited all the Batman movies before the new one came out.
mhm,
It is so goofy. It's literally like a live action cartoon. And it's
mhm,
like I love Arnold,
mhm.
and it's just like it. I don't like puns anyways, so it's just like, no, Arnold, why? The whole time I was like, Arnold, why would you do this?
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman
Yeah,
and Robin.
I've seen the bits and pieces of him in that movie, but I haven't watched the full thing. But I do own it.
Don't.
I own the first four, the original four, on Blu-ray. I got like the set for I think like $9 or something earlier this year. I haven't got a chance to dive into it, but they're definitely on my radar to eventually watch those four. But yeah, I always hear the awesome things about Mr. Freeze in that
Yeah,
movie.
Batman and Robin is just like, I don't know, just like one of those comic book movies that everyone tries to forget. So
Yeah, but there's always the most memes, and they always say, "Yeah, Arnold, in that
yeah,
Batman and Robin, it's something else."
it's one of those movies where everyone says never watch it, but at the same time you should watch it just so you understand how legendarily bad it is.
Yeah, the curiosity for sure.
Yeah. Hmm. All right. What is your next honorable mention, sir?
So my next one is Captain America: The First Avenger.
That's one of my favorite uh, origins in the MCU. I think, yeah, it's up there for me. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah, I think Chris Evans is the perfect actor for Captain America. He's definitely, I would say, probably like the top actor as far as like something that really, I guess, like really connects with his role. Like you picture Captain America and you picture Chris Evans as in that role, and I think he plays that really well. I think he plays the role so well that when he played Buzz in Lightyear, I was like, "Hey, Captain America's reading his lines." You know what I mean?
It's gonna be tough for him to break out of that Captain America mold,
Yeah, I
but
feel that way just because of how his acting style is, and
like he's a
but
great actor, but it's
he
just one of
is
those things where every time I see him, I'm like, hey, it's Captain America instead of hey, it's Chris Evans.
right, and well, they're supposed to do the fourth movie. I believe they have.
Oh yeah, with what's his name? Anthony Mackie is Captain America now, right? I
Apparently
think.
so.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting how they go in that direction. But I think First Avenger, like you said, it's a good origin story, and I like that he is pretty much doubted in the beginning there, and then like he gets all beefed up and everything like that, and goes through all the war, and I like the
Hmm.
villain too in
That's
that
cool.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's got a creepy vibe to him. So
Yeah. I have a lot of nostalgia for some of those earlier MCU movies because, well, I'm quite a bit younger than you, so I, I was I was born in 2002, so I've kind of grown up with the MCU in
mm,
a way. So especially in like my early teenage years and stuff, it was just kind of which ones did we have at home are the
yeah,
ones that I would watch for the MCU, and we always had. This was one of the ones we had, so. Yeah, this is one I always liked watching because I just Captain America is one of my favorite heroes in the MCU. I'd say.
yeah, and
Actually,
I think
over
it.
there, I have my shield replica thing.
Oh, really?
If you saw the thumbnail, that shield and Mjolnir hammer are not photoshopped in. I actually have those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, he has
yeah,
the iconic shield, and I just think like he's kind of like he's like the prototype hero that you would want. You know what I mean? Like if crime's going down, you call Captain America. You know what I mean? To save the day, and I just feel like he's got that. I don't know how to say it. He's just got
noble.
that
He's
vibe
no
about
very
him.
like very noble, I
Yeah,
guess.
he's got that like vibe about him. He's got that
Mm.
trustworthiness about him to just he's gonna save the day. He's gonna step in and he's gonna do what's right. And he just has the vibe, the look, everything
Yeah.
that you would
Also like
think.
the time period setting where it's kind of different from the rest of the MCU where we're kind of in modern times, but this one's set in World War II. I really
Mhm.
like that. So it's like a different setting, kind of breaks it up a little bit in the setting department. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
definitely a good one. We have a comment from Anthony's Horror and More. Hey guys,
Hey, what's up,
hello.
Anthony?
Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you are
Appreciate it.
enjoying the awesome superhero movie talk.
I appreciate it.
Yes, me too. My next honorable mention is going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, that one's good. Very good movie.
Yes. Yes, I didn't expect anything from this movie because I don't like that original, but the original Justice League from
Right.
2017 at all. It's a movie that I refuse to own in my collection here. Like
Mm.
I don't want that because it's not the true cut of Justice League. So I was like, is this actually gonna be good?
Hmm.
Like I was like, I don't know. And so came out on HBO Max. I downloaded HBO Max on my phone one day and I sat on my couch watching
You
Zack
just
Snyder's
watched it.
Justice League in one sitting the day it came out. And I was like, this is just infinitely better than whatever we got in 2017. It's the true Justice League movie. It's like the Justice League movie that we all wanted to see.
Mhm.
It's directed by Zack Snyder, who's quickly becoming one of my personal favorite directors. I just love his directing style, visual style.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a more serious and darker comic book movie too. So it definitely stands out as being different. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and the biggest thing that I like about that movie, I know it's really long, but the character development. I'm very big on character development in my movies, and I love when you can have, even though it's a longer movie, I love that you can get a little something from everybody. It almost makes you want to have certain characters have their own origin story, like Cyborg. I would love if he got his own origin story. And that movie really made me care more about his character because I didn't know a ton about his character.
Yeah, because in the first Justice League he was just there for the
Right.
sake of
And I
being there.
hate that in movies when you have, because that's one of the problems sometimes with superhero movies is they'll introduce a lot of characters, but
They're just
you're
there.
focusing on a main character, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And you can't necessarily cover everything. So you have a lot of characters on screen, but some of them don't get their actual, no pun intended, their justice on screen. So with Zack Snyder's Justice League, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a longer movie, you're getting action, you're getting darker portions, and then you're also getting a lot of character development between all the characters. So that's really what I enjoyed about the film in general. So, and then I really like Zack Snyder as well. So, like a lot of his movies. So,
Yes, definitely a good one. I think my only real criticism towards that movie is that it is a bit of an ask to watch the whole movie. Um, and this is just a me personally thing. When I watch movies, I want to do it all in one sitting. Like
I'm
I
the
don't
same.
like watching half of a movie and then going back the next day. So
No.
that doesn't work for me.
Well,
So when I want to watch this movie, I'm just like, okay, here's the day I'm gonna do it, and then I watch it.
yeah,
So
because a lot of times if you watch a movie that's long like that and you cut it into pieces, your tone and how you're feeling in general. Because like one day you may feel you want to watch something darker, or
yeah,
you have some type of
yeah.
genre of movie you want to watch for the day, and then the next day you may not really care to watch something like that. So yeah, I prefer to do it one sitting too. It's just having the
At least
time.
at least they like split it up into those chapters. So like if you do want to do that, it's very like episodic, kind of like a mini series, I guess, in
That's
a
true.
way. So if you want to do it that way, totally do it that way. But and it makes it easy for you.
That's
Um,
true.
it's just a personal preference of mine for that.
Yeah, I'm the
But
same
yeah,
way. I like to watch all the way
but
through.
yeah, it was one of the biggest surprises of last year for me, for sure.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, what is your last honorable mention?
So my last honorable mention, my wife would probably be mad that I don't have this in the top 10 because this is one of her favorite characters. But Iron Man,
Oh, the original Iron Man,
the original Iron Man.
the one that started the box office behemoth that is the
Yep,
MCU. Yes,
2008.
yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, they just the way that again the way that they build the character and the origin story is, I mean, it's great. It is a good movie, and he's a very pivotal character in the MCU in general and with the Avengers, and the technology that he has and the stuff that is revealed in that movie, and the fact that that was the first movie to start it all. It was a joy to see in the theater, and it's something that we hadn't seen before technically. It's 2008, and it really started off a big journey to building to get to Endgame. So yeah, that's why it's pretty close and almost to the top 10, but not quite. It's almost there.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy the first Iron Man. I think I slightly prefer Iron Man 3 over the original Iron Man actually, but yeah, the first Iron Man is great. Um again, it's one of the MCU movies that I had access to growing up, so I watched it a lot. Um and I actually think it's better on rewatch after Endgame because it just
Mm.
like some because then you just kind of like see where Tony started and you get to see where spoilers where his journey ends. But um, yeah, I always have a really good time with that first Iron Man. And
Yeah,
surprisingly for me, when I rewatched it a few months ago for the first time in a few years, the CG really holds up quite a bit, considering that it came out in 2008. And I was like, dang, the CG actually looks really good today.
yeah. Speaking of like CGI, I really think. Do you feel like as time has gone on that it's getting worse, or do you feel like it's
Like,
like half and half?
like just in movies in general or superhero movies specifically, I guess. Or just
Maybe in general, because
um
I think sometimes it can be oversaturated.
depends.
I think it can be
Yeah, it
oversaturated at times.
depends. Like there's definitely movies that I see today where I'm like, okay, that CG's not very good. But then there's other movies I see and like that CG's incredible. Like the trailers for the new Avatar. Like that
Mm.
looks beautiful, that stuff.
I mean, it should. They've been working on it forever.
Yeah, for like 13 years.
But yeah, it better be good. I'm excited for it. That'll be a movie I see on opening night if I can.
I know I've seen the first Avatar, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, it's
That's like,
long.
yeah, that's in my plan within the next few weeks is to sit down and watch it for what will pretty much be the first time.
Yeah,
I'm interested. I'm interested, but yeah, so that looks really good. But yeah, sometimes there's blockbusters. I'm like, that doesn't look very good. It's kind of hit or miss.
yeah,
Um, I really don't know if there's. I don't really see a pattern or a trend, I guess. But
I got you.
yeah, it's sometimes hit or miss. Like it's CGI. It's either like really good or it's like really bad. Like there's
That's true.
not a whole lot of in between
Yeah,
that
that's
I
true.
see. Yeah. All right. And then my last honorable mention, um, if my mother ever watches this, I'm very sorry, mother, because this is probably her favorite superhero movie of all time. But Guardians of the Galaxy, the first
Oh
one.
wow. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Guardians of the
This,
Galaxy is great.
yeah, this is kind of the movie that, the first MCU movie I remember watching in theaters. I think I actually saw it at a drive-in. But yeah, this is the one I remember seeing first. Is this?
Yeah, I think
Sorry.
those movies, they, the way they make those movies, they do a really good job with the humor in those. I think that's part of like the exception of I'm okay with that having humor and having as much humor as it does because I think it just works so well between the characters and just kind of like the vibe of it in general. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just like everybody, I would say, it's hard to really pick my favorite character out of that because I think they all bring something really cool to the table.
It's just such a
And
weird group of characters, and somehow
yeah,
it works. It like you have a tree, a rabbit, and or
hmm
not a rabbit, a raccoon. They call him a rabbit, whatever.
Rocket, yeah,
Yeah, and Star Lord, and it's just it shouldn't work with this collection of characters, but it absolutely does.
yeah, and it's just even the second one, like they're both like fun times in general, and I mean, just honestly, I think like that Thor: Love and Thunder. It was disappointing that they weren't in that movie more. We just got like
Um,
kind of a glimpse of them. I was like, damn it, I
Pretty
wanted
much
more.
what the trailer showed is what you got in the movie.
Yeah,
So
and with the overabundance of the damn goats in that movie, dude, I rather would have had them in the movie just
yes, put the
cracking
Guardians in
jokes.
the movie. Get rid of those
Yeah,
goats. Get rid of
I
the
would have rather
goats.
had them cracking jokes than that. And yeah, I would say like that's probably like the movies that are like the rare exception as far as like the humor works, and I'm okay with it more of a jokey movie than a serious movie. I mean, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it has the serious moments, but yeah, it just works. The whole cast works, and I'm looking forward to the Christmas special. That is one thing I'm looking forward to, and looking forward to the third one as well. So that will be one that I probably would see on opening night as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Right. We've finally made it now to our actual top 10.
all right.
All right. So, what is your number 10 favorite superhero movie of all time?
Number 10, it could be a surprise to many, but The Incredible Hulk with Edward
Mm,
Norton.
mm,
I really like that
interesting.
movie. Yeah, I really like
Interesting.
that movie. Liv Tyler, I like her character, and I like Edward Norton as the Hulk. I think they haven't done that character justice, really, at this point. She-Hulk was garbage. I'm saying it
Yeah.
on here. It's garbage. I didn't even
Yeah.
finish it.
I I mean, I didn't hate She-Hulk, but is it
hmm
good? No. But
hmm
I had some entertainment value with it, so that's kind of where I sit on it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I kind of don't like that they've tamed down his character now. And I think like with Edward Norton, like that's like the Hawk.
just
He's just
straight
got that.
rage.
Yeah, he's just got that range there, and I miss that about the character. So I'm glad I have it on 4K to watch because that's memories for Hawk there, and it's just been too long since we've You know, I don't even know. Will we get a Hulk movie, anytime soon or in the future? I don't know. Probably not. Doesn't seem that way.
Who knows what they're gonna do at this
So
point?
that's why
Um,
that's my number 10.
yeah. So I like the Incredible Hulk, but as far as MCU movies, it's probably the one I rewatch the least. It's
Mm.
the one I'm least familiar with. And so, kind of unfairly, it's lower in my preference for MCU. Do I think
Mhm.
it's bad? No. Is it terrible? No. I feel like it gets a lot of like unnecessary hate, but it's just never been one of my favorites. Yeah.
I think
I certainly
also,
like Edward Norton as the Hulk.
yeah,
I think he does good. Yeah.
I was thinking, I said, I think also what makes me really like that movie as well is when I went to the theater, the experience that I had. I literally had somebody. You ever go to the theater and you have somebody just say like they have a reaction to like everything in the movie, and like they're like the peanut gallery behind you? Like I literally had
I don't
that
think
the
I've had
entire
that.
movie. The entire movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, here comes the Hawk, man, he's turning green. I just get like shit like that the entire time.
Uh,
It was a fun time. Like, I
yeah.
and normally like I don't like people talking during movies, but when it's fucking funny like that behind me,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
sometimes reactions like that can be so hit or miss. Like it can either be the most annoying thing ever and like ruin your whole experience, or it can just be the greatest thing ever and
yeah,
totally elevate that experience of being in the theater.
yeah, and that's what that's what definitely heightened the experience in the theater for me. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good time. I hope in the future that we get a Hulk like that. As far as he just seems like the mean green guy in that one. You know what I mean? Now he's just
yeah,
kind of like your buddy. Bruce Banner.
yeah,
So
yeah. All right, my number 10 is going to be going back to X-Men. Is going to be Deadpool. Deadpool.
nice. Yeah, my
Yeah.
wife loves that series or that franchise. I will say Ryan Reynolds plays that character to a T.
Yes.
He
Mm-hmm.
really does. He knows
Yes.
what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
The comedy in that, and
Yeah.
the
Going
fact that
going to
it's
back
R.
Yeah, going back to what you said about the comedy
Mhm.
superhero movies, this is one of those times where it works
Right.
really really well.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is another exception, I would say. Um, and the fact that it's R too, that helps.
yes,
And
I love rated R.
it should be. It should be for
Yeah,
what it is. The content.
I don't want to see PG-13 Deadpool. Like, no,
You can imagine like he if he's PG-13, he can't like really cuss or anything, or like he has to
he
like cut
can't
off.
talk. He can't talk.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
Yeah,
So yeah, I agree. I think I prefer the first one more over the second one for sure. Um,
yes,
I don't know. The second one was a little bit of a nosedive for me, but yeah, the first one is. I would say it's a good movie for sure. And Ryan Reynolds, like I said, he plays that character really well. So he's got that character down. So
yeah.
yeah,
One of the more fun superhero movies, I would say. I have a lot of fun with this one.
it is really
Doesn't
fun. And
doesn't take itself too seriously. Just
no,
yeah, it's not serious at all. But yeah, we got a quick comment here from Anthony's Horror and More. Colossus is so damn good in both Deadpool movies. Yes,
very true.
yes, yes. He's hilarious. Yes.
I
All
agree.
right.
Number
Number
9.
9. Yes, that comes after 10.
I hope.
I literally had a brain fart where I looked over and I was like, what comes after 10? Um,
So number 9 on my list is a movie that I feel like it's kind of like a mixture of people if they like it or they don't like it. But Dark Knight Rises.
yes, yes. I'm one of those people that really likes this movie. I think this movie's pretty overhated, honestly.
I agree, but
Mm,
I think also this movie they kind of had to change the plot up a little bit because I think there was going to be a lot more involvement with the Joker
Yeah,
and
I
having
can agree with
Bane.
that.
I don't understand why he gets so much hate in this movie. And I mean, I like his character in this
Bane?
movie. Yeah,
Talking about Bane? Yeah, Tom Hardy does great as Bane.
yeah, I like him, and I like Tom Hardy in general. So, yeah, I really like this movie. I like the scene where he blows up the stadium, and it just I don't know, like some of his dialogue's interesting in the movie too, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's definitely a good time, and yeah, I think it's a good follow up to The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always really enjoyed this movie. Whenever I um it's my second favorite in that Nolan Batman trilogy. I prefer it over Batman Begins and then Dark Knight.
Same.
We'll get there, but um, yeah, I've always really enjoyed this movie. It's the one I'm least familiar with in
Mm,
that trilogy because we always owned Batman Begins, Dark Knight. Never had Dark Knight Rises, so
mhm.
I I haven't watched it as much as the other two, but yeah, I really enjoy this. I really enjoy Dark Knight Rises a whole lot. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The one big criticism I have towards the movie is like the sound mixing with Bane because like everyone's talking at this level and then Bane's just like really loud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is a little bit off at times. I can
Yeah.
see where you get there.
Yeah. That's the thing that stuck out most to me over everything else the last time I watched it was like that sound mixing's a little bit off, but
Yeah,
overall it's great. And I mean Christopher Nolan's a great director too, so
he is. Much
I
agree.
mean, even even what people would consider to be one of the worst Christopher Nolan movies is still a really good movie, better than most directors' best day. So
That's true.
yeah. Um, my number 9 is going to be Logan, the Hugh Jackman Wolverine thing.
Hmm.
This is my favorite movie from that X-Men universe. I remember seeing this movie opening night and that was a very very emotional theater where it's not going to be like Spider-Man No Way Home where everyone's like cheering and whatever emotional like that, but no, you could just like feel that whole theater um being so emotional with just like the send off for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and just finally getting to see a rated R Wolverine where he gets to cut people's limbs off and stuff with the blood
Hmm.
spraying and all that stuff. It was awesome action and awesome just conclusion to his character. And as much as I am very very excited to see him come back in Deadpool 3, they better not fuck up how Logan ended. Like you got to find a way to not mess up how Logan ended, but also have him come back in an awesome way. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they better make it work.
I guess they'll find a way. I'll be honest, dude. I have not watched this movie.
Oh,
I've never watched it. Like I was saying earlier, X Men was just not superheroes that I watched growing up. So Logan is one I've never watched. So like I said, I got to go through the whole X Men
team.
franchise in general
Yeah,
and experience them for the first time.
yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, I would say this is a high point, but
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I always hear good things about it, and I think it's
yeah,
R, right? It's rated R.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So there you go. So that's probably like a case of like kind of like with Deadpool, like it needs to be R.
Yeah, Um, I wouldn't have liked this movie to be PG-13. Yeah,
Yeah.
rated R Wolverine is awesome. So yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about the whole X-Men universe is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is incredible. So before you watch it, just know that this is a fact.
Yeah. I would imagine it's really hard to picture anybody else in that role. So I mean, especially when you've had him in so many movies.
Yeah, I
So
think he played the character for I think 17 years between the
That's
first
crazy.
X-Men and Logan. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah,
So it's easily understandable as to why he's so iconic as that character, and nobody else can picture anybody else in that role.
got another comment from Anthony. Days of Future Past is fantastic. Yes, I agree. That was one of my honorable mentions. Yes, I love that movie. Yes.
All
Right.
right.
Number 8.
So number 8 is a shirt that you're wearing, Watchmen.
Yes, yes, let's go.
Yep.
Yes,
I
love
actually
Watchmen.
need to get this one on 4K. I have it on my list because I have to. I've watched this movie at least, I would say at least 3 times, and I like that it's just different from any other superhero movie and origin story. I feel like it doesn't get a lot of love, to be honest with you.
Yes, yes, I 100% agree with that.
I just don't.
Yes.
I feel like it's really overlooked when people talk about superhero movies. They're not talking about Watchmen, and I love that the shirt that you have, the iconic button with
Yeah.
the blood smudge. Yeah,
The Bloody Smiley.
I
Yep.
would say that he's probably my favorite character.
The comedian?
The comedian. Yeah, probably the comedian. I don't know. All the characters are
Yeah,
pretty
really
unique in
good.
that one
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
there's nothing like Watchmen except Watchmen. It's just
Yeah.
it's so different. Yeah. Yeah.
So the only thing I haven't watched is I haven't watched the series. I don't know. Is the series any good?
Watch it, but I have it. I have it on Blu-ray. That's
Okay.
something I really want to watch. I
Yeah,
really want to
I would
watch.
like to dive into it and see if it's any good. I'm assuming it's on HBO Max. I'm gonna have to check that out eventually. See how it
It is on
is.
HBO. I think it is on HBO Max, but I I'm a whore for physical media collection, so
No, I get it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Um, yeah, Watchmen will be very high on my list, so I will say my piece on Watchmen later. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think one of the reasons that it's kind of overlooked is came out in 2009.
Hmm.
That people weren't really into superhero movies as much as they are now.
Hmm.
Um, and so when you get something that's this different, I think it's kind of ahead of its time.
Hmm.
With I feel like if it came out today, it'd be hailed as one of the greatest superhero movies ever made and like a classic of the genre if it came out today. I think you get a lot more recognition, but yeah, I think it's super, super underrated. Love it.
I just like it too because it's got like a mystery vibe to it, kind
Yeah,
of.
like noir.
Yeah,
Noir
got
feel.
that mystery vibe to it, and it's got its darkness, and then again, it's kind of like not exactly like, but the city and how how Gotham is with Batman. The city plays like a pivotal role in the movie as well. So yeah, I just it's a different kind of movie, and I would say it's one of the more unique superhero films. So yeah, that's
Absolutely.
why it's
Yeah.
number 8.
Yeah. Anthony again, the MVP of the chat. I saw Watchmen in theaters. The soundtrack and cinematography are so beautiful. Yes,
Much
great
agreed.
soundtrack. I listen to that soundtrack all the time, driving around. Cinematography, awesome. Zack Snyder. And I also saw Watchmen in theaters. This was so cool. I rented out a theater last month and showed Watchmen the director's cut. That was really cool. I got to edit like my normal videos, but I gotta like edit an intro to the movie, and they played that on the screen beforehand. So that was really cool. No one knew about it. It's like
Oh
the
wow.
surprise thing. So that was really cool to do, and just getting to see Watchmen in the theaters because well, I was 6 when Watchmen came out, so or no, I was 7 when Watchmen came out, so not really an appropriate movie for a 7-year-old to watch. So
Nah.
so I'm glad I got to see it in theaters. Glad I got to see it in theaters.
Well, dude, just to compare on ages, dude, I was 20 years old. I was your age now.
Yeah.
When that movie came out.
Did you see Watchmen in theaters? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think I did, to be honest with you. I don't think I knew about it back then.
Yeah.
I may have watched it. I may have. It's a good. It may have, because again, during that time I was watching a lot of movies in theaters. When I got out of high school, I really was going to the theater like every week, and that was around that time. So I think I may have watched it, but I think I didn't gain the appreciation that I have for it until later on, especially with kind of how superhero movies are today. I mean, like I said, it's just it stands out amongst the crowd compared to other superhero films. So that's why it's in my top 10. I love that unique style it has.
Yeah, yeah. hmm I always funny story is I didn't watch this until like a year or two ago for the first time.
Mhm.
Um, but I'd always like known about it, and it's always like one of those movies like, "Ah, I should watch that at some point."
Mhm.
Um, and and when I first watched it, as soon as I saw Rorschach on the oh no, as soon as I saw Doctor Manhattan on the screen, I was like, "Oh, this is that movie where the dude blows up at the end." Cause like my dad had watched the movie before, and I had like I don't know, like seen pieces of it, and I'd seen that piece, so I was like, "Oh, that's this movie where the dude blows up." So
Yeah.
uh, yeah. All right. My number eight, and this is where from this point all onward, all these movies I would say are 5 out of 5 for me personally. Everything below this is 4.5 out of 5. So yeah, I
Okay.
love superhero movies. So yeah, just as a point of reference, coming number 8 for me is gonna be Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Yes,
Nice.
yeah, this is probably the MCU movie I rewatched the most
Hmm.
growing up, just because of what we had available. Um, yeah, I just think it's incredible. The action's incredible in this.
Yeah.
I love Captain America as one of my favorite characters. Um, I love the Winter Soldier in this. I love the whole reveal about Hydra and how it kind of just flips the whole MCU up to that
Mhm.
point on its head. I love the whole like spy vibe to it. I love this movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this is probably for me, probably the best Captain America movie out of the three, in my opinion. I enjoy this one the most. It's the one that I would go back to the most out of the three, and I love the Winter Soldier. I love that first scene that he has where he starts, chasing him and through the city and everything like that.
Like the highway, like the
Yeah,
highway fight scene. Yeah, that's incredible.
yeah,
Yeah, that whole fight scene.
and yeah, it's just one of those movies that if I played it over for a good straight amount of times, I wouldn't get sick of it. It's one of those movies that it's a
Oh,
top movie for sure.
yeah, yeah, one of the best of the MCU in my opinion.
Yep, I
I
agree.
think the Captain America trilogy is just a phenomenal trilogy all around.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a pretty consistent trilogy.
Yeah. All right. You're number 7.
My number 7, well, it's Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Oh, hey. Pretty
I'm pretty
close on
close.
this one. Yeah,
Yes,
almost agreed. Almost agreed.
almost. Yeah, like everything we just talked about. It's just, I think it's the best out of the Captain America trilogy, and like we just said, the trilogy is good in general. But yeah, this is just the one when I think of Captain America that I always go back to. The action scenes, I love the Winter Soldier, and yeah, it's a straight up good movie. I always enjoy it.
Well, my number 7, I'm going to disagree with you that that Winter Soldier is the best Captain America because my number 7 is Captain America Civil War. I mean, it it's really close between Winter Soldier and Civil War for me,
Mhm.
but yeah, Civil War. I remember when Civil War was coming out. I was in 8th grade, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and so, 8th grader superhero movie trailer, like, oh my God, superheroes are fighting each other. What? And
Mhm.
so I was like losing my mind, gonna go see this movie. This is when I first backlogged and watched all the MCU movies I hadn't seen before, was prepping for Civil War. So this is kind of when my MCU like super fandom, I guess, started.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love how it it's a follow up to Winter Soldier, set up for, I don't know, kind of set up for Infinity War with breaking up the team. Follow up to Age of Ultron, set up for Black Panther, set up for Spider-Man. It like does all these different things, and it still feels like a Captain America movie. It's all cohesive, and you get awesome action. The airport sequence is like something everyone in the MCU just loves, pretty much. So yeah, I love this one.
Yeah, I think when I initially watched this one, I think it had a lot more comedy than initially that I wanted, I think. Um, I would say for me, I haven't watched it in a while, but I would say from past, I would say it's probably my least out of the three. But but I wouldn't say it's a terrible movie or anything like that. I still think that Captain America is a solid trilogy. I'm not sure where I would rank it, mainly because I haven't watched it in a while. But I from what I remember, I thought it was a little bit too much comedy from what I remember, but I could be wrong. I haven't watched it in forever, so um, I just remember this one being my least favorite out of the three, to be honest with you. But to each their own.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, you're number 6.
So my number 6, we kind of touched on earlier about my superheroes that I grew up with, but the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
Oh, the 2002
Yep.
Sam Raimi one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With this one, I remember seeing it in theaters, and I was like 12, 13, as like my son's age. And I just remember being in awe. This is one of my first superhero movie experiences in a theater. And seeing Spider-Man on screen for the first time, that was an experience. That was my experience. And it was so cool. Like the technology during that time, it was a big thing. Even though it was 2002, like that was where we're at with technology. Like that was the top of the technology at that point. And I just love, the origin story with Tobey Maguire and how it's all set up. It doesn't hurt that Kirsten Dunst is on the screen as MJ. So,
Yeah.
they have that iconic the Spider-Man kissing scene in the rain, and just the way they set it up and everything. And this was also the time, I think, when the video game came out as well. So I knew a little bit of the story with the video game that came out. I want to say it came out on PlayStation, I think, back then, I believe. I'm not sure. It's been a while. I know
I'm
it's
not sure.
before your time. I think you were just like one then, but I'm pretty sure.
When did this come out in 2002?
Um,
If it was before October, then I wasn't alive yet.
Let's see, because I don't know the exact date.
Yeah, while you're looking that up, I will give my piece on this. Before No Way Home, I would have said this is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I would consider this to be like one of the classics of the superhero genre, because it's just like kind of what kickstarted, what is now the, I don't know, biggest money makers at the box office. But yeah, I would consider this to be one of the classic superhero movies of the modern era. I didn't watch any Spider-Man movies until Spider-Man Homecoming, and then I went back and watched all the Tobey Maguire ones and then the Andrew Garfield ones, because I just hadn't seen them before. Mm-hmm. And yeah, when we talked about No Way Home, and I said I don't think there's any bad Spider-Man movies. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the first two Sam Raimi ones, especially. They were my top 2 favorite Spider-Man movies until No Way Home came out. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it came out in April 2002.
Yeah. So I was not alive yet.
Yeah. Well, I think it also helps too that Sam Raimi directed them as well. A
He's a
few
great
days ago, I
director.
was doing another stream, and we were talking about our favorite directors, and Sam Raimi is definitely one of my favorite directors, and I owe it to him with this trilogy of Spider-Man. And yeah, like I said, I was saying earlier, the game came out, and I remember playing the game and knowing a little bit about the story, and then watched the movie, and it was a blast, especially for someone 12, 13. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because this was my movie that was my first movie as far as a superhero into a theater. And the other day, I took my son to see Black Adam. That is his first, not superhero movies watched, but first one that he's watched at a theater.
Indeed, yeah.
So the experience that you get in a theater with your first time watching a superhero movie, I definitely felt it in that moment for him. Even though I didn't like the movie as much as he did, I still liked it, but he was like 5 out of 5. This is
Yeah.
awesome. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
when you did
And I
the
get it.
review with him, and
Yeah.
and you're like 3 out of 5. He's like 5 out of 5. I was like, yeah, that. I
Well,
thought that was hilarious.
you also have to say like he's 11, so it's a
Yeah.
big deal for 11-year-old to watch something like that.
Mhm.
And experience it for the first time in a theater. So I really get it and where he's coming from. And
Yeah,
yeah,
nostalgia
so
is really powerful.
it
So
is,
when it
and
comes to
and
movies,
that's
yeah.
that's why also for you, it's hard for you to have Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield as your favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
I just didn't grow up with it, and
yeah,
it doesn't mean as much to me, I guess.
it's not nostalgia. Yeah,
Whatever. Yeah.
it
It's
kind of
not
goes
nothing against them, but
no.
yeah.
It kind of
Yeah.
goes against like some of the older movies like from the 80s and stuff that people really enjoy, and some of them that
Like the
I
Superman movies and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
like some of those we don't have that nostalgia for because
Hmm. I
it's
haven't even
old to
watched any
us.
of those. I haven't even watched
Yeah,
any of those Superman movies.
I haven't. I would say the majority of the stuff I've watched has been Spider-Man and Iron Man on. You
I'd
know,
say the one superhero movie from um pre 2002, really, when all this craze for superhero movies started, that I genuinely love is Batman 1989, and
mm,
a lot of that is nostalgia, I'd say. Because I remember there used to be a family video like less than a mile away from my house growing
mm,
up,
mm-hmm.
and so we'd go to family video and be like, "Oh, Batman movie." We'd grab Batman 1989, and I watched it a lot. And then eventually we bought Batman 1989, and I watched it a lot again. So I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie, and I love that movie. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think we all have our nostalgia movies that we grew up with and just, kind of watch every year. It's kind of like anything with like Halloween or Christmas, you have those movies you grew up with and
Hmm.
watched. I mean, it's
Yeah.
with anything, I think. It's just what you're introduced to as a child and what you grew up with, and it just sticks with you because you have those memories of, like you said, you watch Batman. So that
Yeah.
was your memory.
Mouse word. Okay. Anthony's horror review. I like how Sam Raimi used a lot of practical effects in his first Spider-Man movie.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
think he used practical effects doing like when he's like learning to climb the wall. I think they
Hmm.
did like some camera triggers just like crawling on the ground, but like the way they did the camera or whatever. Yeah,
Yep,
practical effects over CGI any day of the week, I would say.
I agree too.
Um, hey, this is my father. Will you please say your worst before number one? Sure. Sure, we can do that. I'll have to think about it, but because I didn't prepare for that. But
the worst superhero movie.
yeah,
Man, I may need to think about that one.
yeah, we'll have to think, but sure, we can do that. That should be, I guess, kind of easy. I'll just look at my litter box, but number 6 for me. Right, we're at number 6, right?
Yeah, we
I
are.
think
We're at
so.
six.
Okay. Number 6 for me is going to be Thor Ragnarok. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of my personal favorites of the MCU.
Okay.
I'm a pretty big Thor fan.
Mhm.
I've always liked the character of Thor, so just getting this movie that's so fun. Um, I remember seeing this movie in theaters. Like Thor's kind of had a little bit of a rocky solo movies up to this point, so I was like, who knows? But the trailer looked like it might be pretty good. And I watched this movie and I was blown away at how much I love this movie. Yeah, there's very little, if anything, negative I have to say about Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, so I recently did a rewatch before I went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder of all of them, and this is the best one out of the four, for sure.
Yeah, I don't even think it's close.
No, I would
Yeah.
say,
I like the first Thor.
Yeah.
And then I like Thor: The Dark World more than most people do, but I don't think it's all that awesome. But I don't think it's terrible like a lot of people make it out to be. And then whatever Thor: Love and Thunder was.
I would say my ranking with those would be Ragnarok number 1, probably the first Thor number 2, 3 Dark World, and then Love and Thunder's last. I hated that movie.
I would agree. I don't hate Love and Thunder, but I certainly don't like it.
Yeah, I can't.
That's the first MCU movie I've walked out of the theater and I'm just like, I didn't like that. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. So
yeah, it's just too jokey of a film to me.
Like the goats.
Russell Crowe and his dude.
Russell Crowe's a great actor,
He
but
is.
like,
He's great. I agree, but man, no.
No, we don't need Zeus talking about, I don't know, god orgies and stuff. Like, no.
It's a shame because I really liked, Gore the God Butcher, that character. But
he could have been great. He could have been great if the movie was a serious tone and not screaming goats and I don't know what else. Yeah, I just remember the screaming goats.
The whole planet that he's on too is very interesting. I love the black and white dynamic to it, and we just don't get enough of it, unfortunately.
Oh yes, that scene where they're fighting on the planet. It's like only the lightning and stuff is colorized. Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool visuals.
I love that. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
but other than that, man, like I don't know, man. I don't see me revisiting it anytime soon.
Yeah,
it's just...
And I was smart enough to buy the 4K Steelbook. Okay, but this is pretty cool Steelbook.
It is. But that's usually what happens. Bad movies get good Steelbooks.
Like Morbius, yes.
Which I actually bought that.
Same. Spoiler alert, Morbius is my number 1 favorite superhero movie and movie of all time. Probably Ryan's too. If you want to think of this as our number 2 through 11 favorite superhero movies of all time, you can. But,
the CGI is awesome in that movie.
Yeah. Morbius, is it good? No, but there are some things that I kind of dug in it. Like I liked the character of Morbius, and I'd actually be down for a Morbius 2 and getting more of the character of Morbius. Just do it right. Like there was some stuff in that movie. It's not the eye-bleeding dumpster fire that I think the internet made it out to be when they weren't being sarcastic about the movie being great, but
yeah,
it's almost out of my bottom 10 worst of the year. I think it's like, yeah, it's almost out of there. I've seen some pretty trash movies this year.
I moved it to since I've kind of thought about it more and some of the bad movies that I've watched this year, I've moved it to the okay pile. But just like slightly in the okay pile. I think on Letterboxd, I think I have around, I want to say 35 to 40 worst films of the year. So I think at the end of the year, when I do my worst films, I think I'm going to do a top 20 for both worst and best. And I think I may do a stream where I talk about the rest of the list or something. That's what I thought about doing.
I'm gonna do top 10 worst, top 10 best. Then I'm gonna do a live stream where I do all the movies I saw in the year ranked.
Oh wow!
My goal is to hit 100, and if that whiteboard across the room, if the math adds up, I should hit 100. So
100
fingers crossed. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
New releases. I've watched way more than 100 movies this year, but yes, that's my goal.
Yeah, I know I've hit over that mark, but mine, to be fair, a lot of mine. I mean, I've seen a lot in
The
theaters.
Shudder stuff.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But some of them are weird though, because some of them are like from like 2020, and I get screenings for it, like they just come to the U.S. or something. But
Yeah, like the Black Phone that came out this year was
mhm.
actually the world premiere was like last year, and so on Letterboxd it pops up as a 2021 movie,
I
even
didn't
though
know
it's
that.
like wide release was this year. It's like I'm counting it as a 2022.
Same.
Anyways. All right. Number
Number five.
five. Number five. Yes.
So number five, we kind of already touched on this movie, but Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Yes. Yes. Great.
Probably
Great.
the most honestly, I would say out of everyone on my list, this is like the only one that is got the comedy vibe to it.
Yes, I would agree. I had to think about what the rest of your list was, but yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I haven't. Yeah, anything else I've had so far, none of them have had the kind of vibe that Guardians of the Galaxy does. And like we were mentioning earlier, like the cast, it just works. Like everybody plays their role really
Mhm.
well. I even like.
Also,
I really like Gamora too.
mhm.
Um,
And this
she's a,
movie gave us Chris Pratt. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I love Chris Pratt. Like the 1-2 punch of Guardians of the Galaxy then Jurassic World was just awesome with Chris Pratt. So
he's also really good in what's that movie I've seen him in? I think it's Passengers.
oh yes, with Jennifer Lawrence. Yes,
Very good in
yes,
that, and I'm really interested to see what he does in Mario. To be honest with you,
yeah. I've never understood why people are like, "Ew, Chris Pratt is Mario." I'm like,
well, what other
whatever.
movie can you compare it to? You know, like with
Yeah,
has there
like
been a Mario movie? I don't think
the
there
live
has.
action Mario movie.
I don't think there has. So like, who can you compare it to? And like, we haven't even watched the movie. I hate when people watch a trailer. I mean, I understand like if you don't like the trailer, I can understand that, or like you either may like them, but you can't judge a performance off of a 2 minute trailer. You gotta watch
He
it.
like says like one line in the trailer too. It's
Right.
like half of that Mario trailer is the Bowser versus Penguin thing. It's
Yeah.
like there's barely any Mario in the Mario trailer, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm interested for that. So yeah,
Mhm.
he's a big star, and I think he does great in not just Guardians, but just he's just a good actor all around. And I think he just fits that character perfectly. And like we were saying, all the characters they all have distinct personalities. I enjoy Gamora. I enjoy Bradley Cooper as the raccoon, and Groot. Even though he's just like I am Groot. Um, yeah, I think it works. And then
Also
what's his
has a
name?
great soundtrack. We didn't say that
Yeah,
earlier, I don't think. The soundtrack's great.
yeah. You always I don't know. Like I love that he's got the cassette tape. With all the songs and everything like that. That's super cool. Super cool throwback. And yeah, it's one of those movies that I have watched a bunch of times. So
Yeah.
I totally enjoy it, and that's definitely why it's in my top five.
Excuse me. I'd say it's one of the more rewatchable movies in the MCU for
I
sure.
agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a great time. And when I was talking about it earlier is number 11 on my letterbox list, so barely missed out on my top 10, but real close, real close. My number five, and from here on out, all five of these movies are in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. So,
Oh wow,
like, it's getting really tough,
get
especially,
serious.
yeah, we're getting serious for me at least. Number five for me is gonna be Glass, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, where it's not based off of anything. It's like an original superhero movie. And it's the end of the trilogy of Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass. Glass is my favorite of that bunch by a significant amount, but yeah, I just love this movie. It's quite different from what your superhero movie is. It's very character driven. It's like very isolated in this one location. It's a drama. It's very different. There's not a whole lot of action, but when there is action, it's really exciting and I enjoy it all much. I saw this movie 4 times in theaters when it came out because
Wow.
yeah, it came out in January. The year it came out, there's like nothing else I wanted to see, but I was like, Glass was so good. I want to see it. I want to see it. So I went. I kept finding people to go with me to see Glass, and yeah, it's great.
So I honestly have never seen the movie. I've seen Split, but I've never seen Glass, and I've never seen Unbreakable. So that may be. I wasn't a big
Solid
fan.
trilogy.
Yeah, I personally wasn't a fan of Split, but again, I haven't watched it in so many years now that I mean my opinion could change. And so yeah, I don't know much about Glass. I didn't even know it was a superhero movie. You were saying it, talking about it, and I didn't even know. I
Yeah,
hear a lot of
yeah,
great things about it though.
yeah. James McAvoy as that split personality character is just incredible. Like his acting ability in that. You got Samuel L. Jackson, who's Samuel L. Jackson and always good in anything that
Yeah.
he's in. Got Bruce Willis in here. Bruce Willis is amazing as well. And you got Anya Taylor-Joy in there too. Everything that
Oh, I didn't know
she's
she was in
in,
that.
she's like one of those up and coming actresses that's phenomenal in pretty much everything. So
Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's great in anything I've watched. So I'm a
yeah,
huge fan.
and it's one of those M. Night Shyamalan movies that isn't terrible.
Yeah, I love
Where the
Healing.
twist actually works. Yeah, my least favorite movie of last year was Old, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, and there's a new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out next year, and I'm like, am I excited for this? Like, I don't know. But
Yeah, Knock at the Cabin.
yeah. There's like part of me that's excited, and then there's part of me that's like, oh, maybe it'll be like Glass where I'll love it. Or maybe it'll be like Old where I hate it. Like, I don't know what to think about it, but
I watched a few of his movies this year. I watched The Village, and I didn't like that. I
haven't seen
watched
that one.
Lady in the Water. I didn't really like that.
Haven't seen that one either.
And recently, me and my son watched The Visit. I let him watch that.
I've
And
seen
that was
that one. It's been a
okay.
few years. Yeah, it was okay.
It's all right. I don't own any of those three, but um, I love Signs. I love that he
Yes, Signs is
Signs.
very good.
Signs is a great movie, but some of them I haven't seen. I haven't seen Sixth Sense, and I haven't seen some of these other ones too. So
I liked The Sixth Sense, but pretty quickly I figured out what the twist was in that movie. And I was
yeah,
watching it with my mom, and I like turned to my mom about maybe like a third of the way through. I'm like, "Hey, is this the twist?" She was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Anthony again. I really like the Unbreakable trilogy. Yeah, it's a great trilogy. For me personally, it gets better as it goes along. I don't know if that made sense, whatever. But yes. Yeah, I really like that trilogy. Certainly those three are in the camp of good M. Night Shyamalan movies.
there you
Which
go.
personally. Your number 4.
Yes, my number 4. We've actually already mentioned this movie earlier, but Zack Snyder's Justice League,
Yes, yes.
the epic like 4-hour movie.
Phenomenal film. Yeah.
It really
I
is.
understand it being this high on like anyone's list. I watched it for the first time. I was like, this is just one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. I understand how this could be most people's like favorite superhero movie ever made. Like I
Yeah.
understand everything.
Um, Zack Snyder is just he's again. Last week I did like my favorite directors, and he's one of my favorite directors. He's done a lot of movies that I've really liked, and this just adds to the list. He's done 300, which is one of my favorites. And he's also done another movie that I really liked that doesn't get a lot of love called Sucker Punch.
I haven't seen that one.
And I really like that movie because the whole fantasy element and the war aspect and all that. And I just think he's a great director. I just love his vision. I love just how he can just, even though it's a almost 4 hour movie, like the way that he just develops these characters and just, just the way that he has the variety in that movie. It's just, even though it's as long as it is, it's an epic time. And I would have loved to see it in a theater. And it's just unfortunate that
Yes,
I didn't get that
yes.
opportunity. I hope maybe one day we get that opportunity, like maybe
Mhm.
like a throwback release. I would love to go check it out in the theater.
I would go. I don't care if it's 4 hours. I will go.
I would get
I'll
the
sit through
biggest
that whole
bucket of
thing.
popcorn, dude. That would be like the large bucket.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
I would go to that in a heartbeat, seeing that on the big screen. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's an awesome pick.
So my number 4.
Out of curiosity, do you have the 4K steelbook for that? Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I have the Blu-ray actually because before I got a 4K player, I didn't have a 4K player at the time that it came out. I just got a 4K player this year at the beginning of the year. So I wasn't collecting steelbooks yet. I was still collecting Blu-rays. So I have the Blu-ray slipcover of that one.
Funny story about Zack Snyder's Justice League. I bought it on Blu-ray, then I bought it on 4K when I got a 4K player, and then I found the 4K steelbook. So I bought 3 copies of the movie
Nice.
in the span of a year, and it's like now I have 2 extra copies because I pulled out all my duplicates a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I probably should upgrade, but I'm kind of a Nazi about the slipcovers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
I
really
remember you talking about that.
I really don't like buying a movie for 30 some damn dollars without a slipcover. It's if it's on sale, it's like $10, maybe. But man, I really hate when it doesn't have the slipcover because we're paying so much money for these movies, some people
It's
don't
not
care.
a cheap hobby to collect Blu-rays.
Well, that and it just looks nice on the shelf when you have a nice slip and they all are like that and they're all lined up. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
looks awkward when they don't have the slip and like you have like 10 movies that have the slip and you have like 2 or 3 that are in the middle.
You just have the one that's standing out without it.
Yeah, because that's how my like I have the first Venom and that one doesn't have a slip at all and it just looks, I don't know. It looks awkward.
Oh, both of my Venoms have a slip.
Oh, they do. Yeah, see, is
Ah.
my friend bought me. I think he bought me it for my birthday or something like that. I was like, "You have a slip?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "All right, I guess I'll take it."
Not a true friend. Not a true friend.
No, it's funny because I've got him more into collecting again because he wasn't buying as many movies, but he got a 4K player and he's getting all into collecting this year like I have and collecting the steelbooks and stuff, certain things, and he's getting more into the slips now. I think he understands my logic with them.
Yes.
I just think if you're paying 30 some dollars, you should get a slip, man. And I feel like I have some like conspiracy theory that like when Best Buy gets their movies in, like they're back there like taking the slips out to go like resell them. Like that's why like half the movies like, and the thing is, if you don't buy them like within release week, you most likely won't get a slip. It seems like so, and I really
Yeah.
wish that places like Amazon, I really wish that when you go to purchase that you have
It would
the
tell
option.
you if it has a
Yeah, like
slip.
you have the option with slip or without a slip because then like some people don't care and then like if they don't care or they don't hit an option they get no slip and it leaves the collectors that want that slip and then if they don't have a slip and they offer it then those collectors can be like all right I might buy it because they don't have a slip but you take the chance, take the risk. So that's my feeling on that.
My number 4 is going to be the movie that I say I have the most nostalgia for, and that's going to be The Dark Knight. Like we've talked about before, I was born 2002. We've said this like 10 times already. So
It's not good.
I was born in 2002. So I was 6 when this movie came out. Didn't have a whole lot of superhero movies at that time, or at least not as many as we have now.
Mm-hmm.
And so The Dark Knight, we owned The Dark Knight. And I watched this movie on loop so many times. Like, I've seen this movie dozens of times at this
Same.
point in my life. And just on top of how incredible of a movie it is, with the dump truck of nostalgia on top of it, it is easily one of my favorite films of all time. Like, it's been praised as one of the best comic book movies of all time for over a decade now.
Yep.
So anything that I would say isn't going to add anything to the conversation that hasn't been said before. So yeah, it's just The Dark Knight. What else do I need to say?
Yeah, it's an iconic movie, and like you said, I've seen this movie a bunch of times as well, and it's just, I mean, it's a 5 through and through. There's no debate about this movie. It's just it's a 5. Like, it has everything that you would want in a superhero movie. Outstanding performances, and just, I mean, Heath Ledger in this movie, he's iconic. I mean,
Well, he won an
don't know.
Oscar for it too,
Yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
don't know what else you say. Like, it's an outstanding performance, like,
Yeah.
through and through.
It's just one of those movies where I just have a tough time talking about how awesome it is, because I just feel like everyone should just know how awesome this movie is. It's just one of those movies for
Yeah,
me.
I feel like this is the kind of movie that if someone that is trying to get into superhero movies, or even somebody that doesn't really watch movies, like, this is a movie you should have on your list to watch. Like,
Definitely,
it
yeah.
needs to be up there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anthony, again, are you both slipcover and steelbook guys? Which do you prefer? For me personally, I'm one of those people that doesn't care about slipcovers. But I really like steelbooks. I only get steelbooks for movies I love, or if it's really cool artwork. Sometimes I'll get a steelbook if it's like really cheap for a movie I'm looking for, and it's just like cool, whatever. Or I'll get a steelbook for movies that I don't like I have the steelbook for Old and Morbius. So sometimes I'll do it out of irony like that.
I think for me, it honestly varies. For me, I really don't like getting them shipped to me, to be honest with you. I really don't like how Amazon does their packaging. It sucks. You just
like
take
the
such
little
a risk.
pouch.
Yeah, you just take like such a risk. I remember like this year when I first ordered from them a few steel books. I'm like, they just don't have any protection on them, so I don't really like taking the risk. At first, I was ordering some from Best Buy, but a lot of times, I mean, unless it's just something that I don't think will be in stores, um, I don't really order the steel books as much anymore. I mean, I don't mind ordering the regular 4Ks, because most of them, they come with a slipcover new, especially if you pre-order. Like, you most likely, I mean, I don't think I've ever had one that didn't come with a slipcover first week, coming out. But I think for me, it just depends on the art. Like, for instance, recently Nope came out, and I hated the steelbook. I like steelbooks, but the
Sometimes
slipcover.
I'll avoid steelbooks too if I don't like
Yeah.
the design.
But I've also noticed, and this can be a trend sometimes, is sometimes they did this for Top Gun, they did this for Sonic. For the new Sonic and for the new Top Gun, the slipcover only came with the 4K. But if you pay $5 more and get the Steelbook, you get the 4K and the Blu-ray. So my feeling is, if you're going to pay $5 more and you can get both, why not get both? Unless you don't care. I
Yeah.
mean, some people. I'm like all for the bang for the buck. You know what I mean? Like if I can get something a little more, and pay just a couple dollars more, I'm gonna do it. So,
One more from Anthony.
all right.
It would be fantastic if Amazon told us whether we're getting a slipcover or not. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
click that
Yeah.
option. Like, why? I mean, they give you every other friggin' option for stuff, and
Hmm.
I mean, why not? Especially if you're a Prime member. If you're a Prime member, that should be an option.
It's like a when you're signing up for Prime, it's like listed as one of the benefits. Get to choose
Yeah,
if you get a slipcover for movies or not.
exactly. Why not? Why not?
Yeah. I The only time that I will order movies online is if it's like an older movie
Mhm.
or it's like something that's really rare, I guess. But
Yeah,
I prefer going to stores and looking for things because that's just like fun to me to get to go do that.
yeah,
And you'll never really know what you'll find, and then you actually get to see it before you buy it, like in person too. So I
yeah.
prefer going to the stores to pick up
I
physical
agree.
media.
It's just now that there's a shift in physical media, I think, because I personally think that Target are like Nazis against having physical media.
Yeah,
Uh,
screw Target.
like every Target that I've gone into now, it has that small, tiny little display, and they just don't support. Like even with Black Friday sales, dude, they don't have anything for on sale for movies. There's no mention. At least Walmart does. I know Walmart, their new ad, they at least have some stuff. So they
Yes, we
support
do.
physical media and they have the exclusives, which they don't put in my store apparently. Any exclusive, they don't come to my store. But
Yeah, because you
but
were saying because you went hunting for the Nope one, and I watched that, and then I went to work the next day, and I found it, and I sent you the picture.
yeah, and
It's like,
and I
hey,
went
look.
to like I've gone to 3 or 4 stores now. They don't have it. They don't have it. Nobody has it. And a couple other people I've talked to too in their town, they don't get it either. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just ended up going with the just the regular generic kind of slip with the characters, but
Oh, where they're all looking up.
yeah, it's kind of a generic kind of slip. I like the Walmart one because it's just was something different. I feel like a lot of times with the posters and a lot of times with artwork, they just put like the characters and slap it on the slip cover, and you're just kind of like, really? That's all you can put on there for the artwork, I don't know.
Yeah.
It can be kind of lazy at times.
Right. Your number three, top three. We've made
All
it.
right.
The
So
cream of the crop.
my number three, we've also talked about this movie already, but the Batman.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So
Nice. Yes.
um, with this one, so I'm obviously going to do a best of the list at the end of the year. This movie hasn't moved from the number 2 spot the entire year. It's stayed there since May.
Same. Same for me. Same for me.
It hasn't moved. It stayed there. And, a lot of people doubted again that Robert Pattinson could not pull off this role. And when everybody was saying that, I was like, you're all in for a rude awakening and you're all dead wrong because,
And
you
everyone
know,
was wrong.
yeah. And, yeah, he pulls it off amazingly in this role. And this is the definitive, like, dark Batman for sure. And, it's 3 hours, but it's 3 hours of a movie that
Is awesome.
it's just it's a great experience,
Yeah.
and I love the mystery aspect to it. We talked about it earlier. We talked about the whole noir aspect. It's something we haven't seen with Batman, and I'm just glad they brought it to the screen, and everybody again plays a really good role in this, and it's just it's a great time. It's the best
Yes.
way to describe it. And
Yeah.
seeing it in the theater was it was like an iconic experience, I think. So
Especially that the scene where he's revving the engine to the car, like
yeah,
the whole theater shook. I felt that. It was like, ooh.
It's like we all wanted a Batmobile after that experience, just to rev
Yes.
around.
Yeah, it's like I want to walk out of the theater and I want my car to be the Batmobile. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Imagine revving that up and like cranking that engine. Everybody looks over and they're like, "What has he got over there?"
yeah, it'd be so cool. Since you said it's your number 2 for the year, what's your favorite movie of the year? Just out of curiosity.
So it's The Northman.
Hmm? I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love The Northman, and that's also because um, Robert Eggers is one of my favorite directors. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a no-brainer for me. A lot of people think it's an A24 movie, but it's not. So
Yeah. I think I actually said that on the live stream we did on your channel. It's like the Northman's A24, and you're like,
you're not the only one
actually,
now. So
yeah,
yeah, a lot of people think it, and I understand from the vibe of it and the way that it looks and the way that it was shot. I definitely understand why people think that. But no, A24 did not make that movie.
yeah. The Batman is my number 2 for the year as well, just behind Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I got you. Yeah, I got to rewatch that one.
I don't see anything taking that down out of first place. That's like the first movie in quite a few years that I've walked out of the theater in like 5 out of 5. Like I rarely do that. So it's like easy number 1 for me. But yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement that it's the second. That's the second best of the year.
Yeah.
One more from Anthony. You really are the MVP of the chat tonight, Anthony. I'm proud of you. I really like the Horse Eye Slip for Note, the Walmart exclusive.
Yeah,
that's what it was, the Horse Eye.
Yeah, I would have loved to see it, Anthony. I still haven't seen it yet. I guess we're never getting it. I guess it's all a lie.
Yeah. Maybe someday.
Yeah, exactly, right? It'll just appear magically.
All right. My next 3, for context, these next 3 films are just my top 3 favorite movies of all time. So
there you go.
There we go. So number 3 for me is going to be Watchmen.
Yes. All right.
Watchmen. Yes, I wanted to save my piece on Watchmen from earlier to now, but
yeah,
Watchmen just such an incredible movie. Like the characters are also different and like nothing you've ever seen before. I think my favorite character is Dr. Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that any of them are bad. I love all the characters in this movie. He's just the one I like the most. The whole birth of Dr. Manhattan scene, where it's like showing his backstory and stuff, is just one of my favorite scenes in cinematic history. I fucking love that scene. The ending to this movie is incredible. The soundtrack's incredible. The action's incredible. Just like how deep this movie goes into diving into deconstructing superheroes. Like obviously I love superhero movies, if you couldn't tell. So seeing a movie that like questions superhero movies and is just so different is just so amazing to me, and I love that this movie exists. It's the one superhero movie I've ever watched that made me read the source material. I've read the graphic novel of Watchmen because I love this movie so much. It's the only superhero movie I've ever done that for. When we talked about it earlier, it's I rented out a theater to show this movie. And I own the Blu-ray for the director's cut. I own the 4K Ultimate Edition. I have the Steelbook sitting on top of my desk over there, sitting on top of my copy of the graphic novel. Like, this is just, I love this movie. I can't get enough of this movie. Like, any day of the week you want to watch Watchmen, I will be there. Like, this movie, if I had to give a superhero movie the title of masterpiece, I would give it to Watchmen, personally.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's a unique movie for sure, and I don't think there's anything like it. And I believe, did Zack Snyder direct this one? I think he did.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. Again, another reason why he's a great director. His filmography is
He
phenomenal.
gave us Watchmen. That's
He
enough
did
to
give
make
us
him one
Watchmen.
of the greatest directors ever.
But yeah, so
Uh,
yeah, he's just his vision in the way. Yeah, he just knows how to direct superhero films. That's all I'll say about it.
Also, fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but Zack Snyder used the graphic novel of Watchmen as his actual storyboard for the movie. So if you read the graphic novel, a lot of the panels are actually shots in the film. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool because I had seen the movie a dozen times. And I'm like, I should read this graphic novel. I was reading, I was like, hey, that's in the movie. So
Nice.
yeah, it follows pretty closely, except they changed the ending a little bit. But
Hmm.
yeah, just yeah, it's kind of the characters. It's kind of like a tragedy with some of those characters too, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Like, and then like how the whole ending is up to you to decide if it was right or wrong is just like this movie's perfection to me. So yeah.
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 It's like I said, what we were saying. It's a great, unique movie, and yeah, just like characters that they have a lot of unique qualities to them as well, and they all have their
They all have like a relatability to them,
yeah.
where they all have something that you can relate to, but then at the same time, like for as terrible of a person as the comedian is, like
Hmm.
you can like relate to some of the stuff that he says or
Yeah.
does. It's like even though he's a terrible person, you're kind of like, I like this character still.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, yeah, just great. Anthony again. The Batman was badass. Agree. That final action scene where he's fighting all of Riddler's henchmen was shot so well. I would
I
also agree. Yes.
much agreed.
Oops. All right. Your runner up.
All right. So my number two film. This is another one we've talked about, but The Dark Knight. Yeah.
Yes.
Really, we've covered it all with this one. I mean, it's an iconic film. It's a 5 out of 5 any day of the week. I've probably seen this probably. I would say it's probably been the most one that I've most watched out of any superhero film. Probably that, and then probably like the Spider-Mans, and then probably Watchmen follows. So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, even what we said doesn't really do the movie service. Like, it's just
yeah,
like if you haven't seen it, I don't know who hasn't seen it, but go watch The Dark Knight. Like, it's like one of those movies that you need to watch
I
in
agree.
your lifetime. So yeah. Yeah. For me, coming in second place is going to be Avengers Endgame. Yes. This is the greatest theater experience of my entire life. Like it was the perfect conclusion to phases 1 through 3 of the MC. Like you couldn't have done any better in my mind. Like the whole first 2/3 of that movie of like seeing how our characters deal with losing, and then the whole time heist is just so much fun for people who have been MCU fans getting to go revisit all these time periods. And then that third act of Avengers Endgame is my favorite thing in cinematic history. Like it's like I just rewatched Endgame like a week ago. In that third act, I like am grinning and almost like jumping out of my chair with excitement. I'm just like, I'm sitting here watching this at home and I'm getting that giddy and excited with it. Like it's just so much fun. And yeah, it's the movie I've seen the most in theaters as well.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I was working at a second job at a theater, and about a month before that movie came out, I started working, and I first started out in concessions before I did usher, and I was doing concessions for the night that that movie came out, and you talk about craziness. Literally, the line was out the door to get in and get their concessions, and we had show times till like 3 in the morning, like starting at 3 in the morning. And I mean, I think that night, opening night, we had maybe like 4,000 people, which is a lot for that theater during that time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was just,
Insane.
I don't know if there'll ever be a more iconic opening for a movie, or that much buzz and excitement for something.
It's
I
just
feel like Marvel wants to try to build up to having something like that again. I know, like, they have, like, I think, like, the Kong Wars or something, and the Secret Wars and all that. But I just don't know if it'll ever reach that point that Endgame did. I mean, it's just that was the end, and that movie, the way that the movie ended, I know for my wife, it's a very emotional movie towards the end with Iron Man, because she loves Iron Man so much. And yeah, it's a really it's just, it's that epic end to everything that we've been
hmm
building up for. And you know it it has like a mix of pacing, I would say. In it definitely has some slow down points, but it also, those battle scenes, and just the way, like, they structure that movie. I understand why it's where it's at, why people have that appreciation for it. So I understand why it's at the top of your list.
it's one of those things where it's like you had to be there to understand the hype going into
Yeah.
Endgame. It's like the hype for this movie was unreal. Like I remember seeing this movie opening weekend. I think I saw Endgame 12 times in theaters, if I'm being honest. Like,
Wow.
and I think 6 of those times were opening weekend. Like I
Wow.
was I was 100% on that hype train. Like the theater that I went to literally had a sign outside of their theater saying we are sold out for showings of Avengers Endgame. Like just don't
Wow.
even waste your time coming in. Like it was sold out for weeks. I remember like following everything going into that movie. I remember following the box office and stuff. Is just like I just I I never got tired of it. Like I could honestly watch the third act of Endgame at any given point of any day. It's just like yeah, it I love this movie.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting where the MCU has gone since that point, because it was such a high point at that point in time. And like I said, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get that hype that movie had. Just had so much going for it and so much
There
building.
there's
You
part
know.
of me that as much as I love the MCU, Phase 4 hasn't been or Phase 4, it's ended now with Black Panther, but Phase 4 wasn't the greatest. Um as much as I love Marvel and I'll always go see it, there's a part of me that's like you should have stopped at Endgame and just stop. Just like end at Endgame and just have like the greatest series of all time
Mhm.
without the epilogue or going further. Like they could have done that and could have been amazing. I mean,
Do you
it
feel?
still is amazing, but yeah.
I would say, do you feel like since Endgame had ended at that point, ended everything, do you feel like with Phase 4, it almost feels like side quests at this point?
Yeah,
With
I don't really feel like there's something that we're building towards with like, because beforehand there was always, hey, we're building to this. We knew what we were trying to get to.
mm,
With Phase 4 so far, it's just like, hey, here's a movie, here's a TV show. And it's like, what's connecting them? Like
right,
that's what draws me to the MCU is like seeing how everything connects and seeing it all weaving together. It's like Phase 4 had like none of that.
hmm,
So that was really disappointing, but
yeah, but
right.
we'll
What is
see
your
where it
number
goes.
one? Number
Alrighty,
one.
so my number one, I have the poster in my other room, but the Joker,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
um, it may not be what everybody was expecting as my number one, but yeah, I mean, again, I never would expect that this would be my number one. Uh, just after seeing Dark Knight and never thinking that anybody could come close to Heath Ledger. But I mean, I think Joaquin Phoenix kills it as that character. And I love the darkness of this movie. I love how they're building this character. And like some people think that, they're trying to get you to feel sorry for him. But I think the way that they build this movie, I think it's kind of a fake me out. Like they're kind of getting the audience to, I guess, get on his side, but then like they just keep building that character, and then the film gets darker and darker. And by the time like the film gets to its climax and we get to see the Joker for who he really is, even though he's gone through certain issues and certain things and trials and tribulations, he just, I don't know, he snaps, and we get to see those different emotions go about throughout the film. I love the scene where he's going down the stairs and he's dancing, and just like the score in the movie and the soundtrack is a phenomenal soundtrack. I love the variety of music in it, and you can also just see how like his mind in that movie, it's just so like like he's so out there, you know what I mean? Like he just seems like he's having so many struggles, you know what I mean? Like he's getting bullied, and then he gets fired from work, and those guys pick on him, and then he gets laughed at with him being on the show with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all this stuff that's building up to him being how he is as a person. Like you're really getting a true build-up story as to how he is the Joker. Like he just didn't one day just get up and like say, I want to be a fucking villain. Like that's not what he said. You know what I mean? Like
it's a very slow descent.
It is, but what I find interesting about it is when that movie came out, and I think I was working at the theater at the time. I'm pretty sure I was. I think it was it 2019 when that came out?
2019.
2019, yeah. So I was working at the theater. And I remember when I worked there were, because it was rated R, and the kids were trying to sneak into it, like teenagers, and they'd walk out and they'd be like, I didn't like this movie. Well, yeah, it's not your Iron Man superhero movie or something. Like this is a dark freaking movie. It's artsy. It's just got a lot of element to it, and I appreciate it for what it is. So I'm not sure what to expect with the second one. I personally don't think it'll live up to the first one at all. I just think
I'm intrigued at what the second one might be, but I don't really know how to feel about it.
Right. I just don't, especially with Lady Gaga. I mean, not to say that she's a bad actress or anything. I have nothing against her. I liked Gucci. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but
I liked that one as well.
I can't say anything topping it, but the vibe of that movie and just the way that it's just so freaking dark. I mean, I can't say enough like how I appreciate that movie.
Yeah, for sure. It's not one that I watch all the time, but every time I watch it, I get reminded of how incredible of a film it is. So yeah. Oh, I thought of something else. Oh yes, sorry. I was thinking of things to say while you were talking. It's like the polar opposite of Endgame, which came out in the same year. You have the biggest superhero movie to ever exist come out. Then a few months later, you get this very small scale character study that's very dark, not for everyone. It's the polar opposite of Endgame. And this movie, it's great. I haven't watched it in a while. I probably should, but it is great. I understand it being your number one. It's definitely one of the best.
Yeah, and I'm also big on like artiness too. I've been I like movies. I do enjoy character study kind of movies, and I do like I said, I do love the artsy style. I love like the camera work in the movie and just like the aesthetics. And actually, my wife, a couple years ago when that movie came out, she loved that movie so much that she dressed up as the Joker for Halloween and, had the jacket and everything, how he looked. And she actually, at the time, she had a second job. She was working at a baby store. And so she dressed up as the Joker at the baby store.
Oh, yes, that
So,
is very, very fitting.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that me and her both enjoy. We sometimes are at polar opposite ends when it comes to superhero movies, but that one, like, we're totally on board with. So, it's good to share that experience with her.
Yeah. And then my number one, I want to show. Avengers Infinity War. My whole
All right.
display over there for it. Yes, Avengers Infinity War. Like with Endgame, I was on the hype train for this movie, just like so excited for this movie. Finally getting to see Thanos, who's one of my favorite film characters of all time, getting to see him finally and them absolutely delivering on what I would say is definitively the best villain in the MCU. Getting all the characters together, getting awesome interactions, awesome action, it's like 2.5 hours long, but it's so fast paced that like where there's never like a down moment in the movie. And I really like that in the movie because there's so much going on in the movie that there's everything. Everything I love about superhero movies this movie does. So
I would say, like, also with that movie, it was kind of like one of the first times where the villain won.
yes.
So it's different. And like
Yeah.
the way that it ended, it's like, oh shit, he won. What happens next?
Yeah. Then we had to wait for a whole year.
Yeah. So it's just that part of it is, I mean, it's well done. I mean, it's great to see something like that. It's great to have the villain wins. For the first time, I guess. I mean, you don't see it. So
You don't see it very often. Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if we'll really see something like that ever again in a superhero movie, because it doesn't seem like we will. I mean, maybe we might. I don't know, but I think
Maybe, but
I think also that was a good marketing tool too, because it's like, oh shit, he won. We've got to watch the second part to see,
yes.
what's going to happen. What are they going to do?
Yeah,
So,
it's like the 1-2 punch that was Infinity War and Endgame was just like for me a superhero fan's dream. So
and the iconic glove and everything like that.
Yeah,
So,
I got that like the Marvel Legends recreation one that you can like move and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love.
You're all in.
Yes, look, the MCU, I'm like a mega fan of the MCU, so I have something really cool coming from the MCU. I'm gonna do like a full unboxing video for it.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to arrive on the 7th of December. I ordered it like months ago and it's finally coming soon. So I'm really excited. I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really cool.
Awesome.
I forgot. We forgot to do our worst superhero movies before number one. So I looked at my letterboxd, and the 2 superhero movies I have rated the lowest are Justice League 2017 and Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
I think between the 2 of those, I'm gonna go with Howard the Duck.
Okay.
Because I could watch Justice League again. I just don't want to because there's a better version of it. I mean, but I could watch it again. Howard the Duck, I watched once and I'm like, what is this?
Right. gosh, man, this is I'm trying to think what my worst one would even be. Let's see. Let's go through some movies here.
What about Fan Four Stick?
I don't even know what that is. Fan Four Stick.
Like the Fantastic Four movie
Oh,
from a few years
probably.
ago.
Okay, so probably the newest one. That one was pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while, so I don't want to give my
Yeah.
outdated thoughts on it, but uh,
Let me see.
where did it-
I mean, there's some of them that just aren't memorable to me. I'm trying to.
yeah, there's some that are bland, like the first Suicide Squad. I don't like it all.
A
Wonder
lot of
Woman
people hate that
84.
movie.
Uh,
Um,
Wonder Woman 84 is another gem.
yeah, probably 84. I wasn't a big Shazam fan either. I know a lot of people like that movie, but I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Oh, Shazam?
So, no. And the second one, I'm not really looking forward to watching, but my son really wants to watch it, so I guess we'll go see it in theaters. But I'm not really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The trailer doesn't look too intriguing for me, but
Yeah.
I guess worse for me, I guess, would be the last Fantastic Four. I can't think of
Fantastic
anything
Four.
else.
I mean, I'm looking at some of my other lowest on Letterboxd, like Batman and Robin is pretty low.
Mhm.
X-Men Origins Wolverine is pretty low. I don't
What's the
know.
lowest rating you give? Have you given them any of them 1 stars?
Yeah, the lowest I gave Howard the Duck and Justice League 2017 1 stars. I haven't given any superhero movie half a star.
I was to ask if you had any that are half stars, but I guess not.
No. I half stars are reserved for very special movies.
Yeah.
I've given one movie this year half a star, and that is Dashcam. That movie
Oh, I
sucked.
gave that one a half star as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
actually
I saw that when you like rated that on Letterboxd. I was like, good job.
that movie
It
is
deserves
garbage.
that.
It's so political too, dude. And like, I'm not like a big, I'm not like one of those people that like picks out stuff for political crap. But that one is just like forced as hell.
Beats
So
you over the head with it with one of the most annoying
yeah,
characters ever. It's like,
yeah.
no.
And I don't get offended by politics. I really don't. Like honestly, I don't care like what you are. I could care less. It doesn't affect me in the slightest. I know some
Not
people get
really.
rowdied about it, but I don't. But yeah,
Yeah. It
that
just
movie I
like
got a half star, and there's another movie that got a half star. I did a rant on it a few weeks ago. I'm sure you saw it, but it was called "All Jacked Up and Full of Worms."
I saw the title of that review. I'm like, what the hell is this?
And I'm not the only one that hates it. Like I watched a couple other people's reviews. I watched another one today, and somebody said they hated it too, but nobody went on a rant like I did about it.
Yeah. There's one movie that I'm gonna check out this year just because everyone is saying it's like abysmal. Is
Mhm.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn?
I've heard that one's
Like,
really bad.
yeah, I've only seen the first Jeepers Creepers, and I thought that movie was just fine. I
Mhm.
haven't seen 2 or 3, so I'm probably gonna watch 1 again, 2 and 3, and then see number 4 to see if it can dethrone Dashcam as my least favorite movie this year.
Yeah, I've seen the first two. The third one, I believe I watched. The fourth one, I never watched, and this fifth one, I haven't watched.
This is the fourth one.
Oh, the fourth one. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, I thought for some reason I think there was 5 for some reason. I don't know why. Or whatever.
Just the 4. Yeah.
Maybe because there's the third and it goes downhill after them.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about 3 either, so
It wasn't good from what I remember, but it's been a
yeah.
while.
Yes. I guess that's all we had planned for this stream. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone who watched. And
Yeah.
and shout out to Anthony here
He's
for
the
giving us
MVP.
lots of. He's the MVP of the chat, giving us lots and lots of questions and comments to respond to. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude, this was fun. I'm glad you invited me on to talk about this, and
Yes.
yeah, like I mean, I would love to do something like this again. I wouldn't even mind doing like a watch along or something. I'm really liking. I did one with Mike the other day, and I really liked doing that, especially like if you haven't watched a movie you've never watched or something like that, and the reaction.
Yeah. I want to, at some point, I'll probably do this by myself, but at some point I want to do like I don't know if it's going to be a live watch along or a commentary, but I want to do it for Watchmen.
Mm-hmm. You just got to watch, so like you don't get
yeah.
copyrighted. You have to like plug everything in, can't hear anything because
can't
YouTube's
hear,
picky
can't
about
see.
that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would love to do something. We should, at some point, we should do a stream of you, me, and Mike. At some point, we should see if you can get on board for that. We'll work on that.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever. Just let me know, and yeah, I'd love to do something like that. I did enjoy doing the walks along with him. That was cool, and I love doing these rankings and stuff. Tomorrow on my channel, I'm gonna be doing a ranking for top 15 for 2010 movies. So that's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, I saw you had that coming up.
Yeah, tomorrow with Zach.
I'd have to like look up 2010 movies to see what mine would be, but
yeah, I got the list going.
Let's answer this question from Anthony. You guys should do a top 10 horror films. Well, sir, I have gone above and beyond on this question and did top 31 horror movies for Halloween. So if you want to see my top 10, you could see that.
Yeah, I did a stream about a month and a half ago with Voices from the Mausoleum, Angel, and we did our top 10 horror films. That was fun.
I watched that stream and then I made my list and I was like, oh, your top 10 for favorite horror movies and my top 10 are like so different.
Yeah.
So when I was like, we should do top 10 superheroes, like, is this going to be like that where it's so different and we're not going to agree at all? But for the most part, we agreed.
Yeah, say like, how did you feel as far as like, were you surprised by any of my picks or anything like that? Because I don't know, did you know going in that I was more of a DC fan over Marvel?
No, I didn't know. I'm trying to think. I'm not as surprised as what you picked. I guess I'm more surprised of like how high different things made it or how low different things make it. I'm more surprised about the placements, like in the numbers rather than what the movies were.
I got you.
Yeah, but yeah, you had really solid picks. And I agree that all those are great. Yeah. Didn't have like some black sheep.
Yeah, I didn't put Captain Marvel as number 1 or something like that. I think if I put Captain Marvel as number 1, you'd be like, I'd be like, a lot of superhero movies.
I'd be like, okay, stream's over. Make sure that disassociate myself with Ryan.
Number 2 is Eternals.
I actually watched Eternals and I was like, because I only saw it in theaters, so I rewatched it the other day and I was like, I'm actually really interested to check this out. And I was like, yeah, this is okay. There's like a version of Eternals that could have been amazing.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, it exists. I don't think it's trash, but.
Yeah, so initially when I reviewed it, I think I gave it, I want to say a 2, I believe. I think it was a 2 out of 5. I did a rewatch, and there were a lot more elements that I liked about it the second time. But
yeah, I'd agree with that too.
But it's not, I don't think it's a trash movie, no. I think it got, I think it's a little over, what do you call
Stuffed?
It? Just like over analyzed, I guess, for what it is. I don't know. I'm not sure why people didn't like it as much. Maybe because it was like maybe there were people we weren't familiar with.
It's very different. for the
Yeah.
MCU for sure. It's
Yeah.
kind of going for that prestige.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I mean, I need to watch Black Panther. I watched that. Yeah, eventually I'll watch that. And honestly, I need to rewatch Ant-Man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've ever seen Ant-Man 2, like ever, because I never was big on the first one. But again, I haven't watched the first one in years. So I mean that could change. So I do like Paul Rudd though. So
I
as an
love
actor,
Paul Rudd. I love him so much.
yeah. So I'll
Um,
have to do rewatches on those.
yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and say we should wrap this stream up. It's like 2.5 hours already.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have other things to do tonight. So,
All right, man. Yeah, appreciate it.
so tell everyone what you have coming up on RWR movie reviews soon.
So this week is kind of light. Tomorrow I have a stream with Zack Attack Reviews. We're going to be doing our top 15 2010 films that came out the year. So it'll be a mix of genres. And I will have a review for a movie. It's a smaller movie called The Boy in the Corner. And then I also will be reviewing and watching this week. You know what? I go to the theater every week, but this is the first time I'm gonna be going to the theater in 3 weeks, which is a long stretch for me. But I'm gonna go see The Menu this weekend. So
Same. I'm gonna go see that.
so I'll review that, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I have a few other smaller movies that came out in theaters that I didn't get a chance to watch, just didn't get around to it. So I may have some reviews on some of those coming up. But I don't know. I mean, I know like Thanksgiving weekend, there's a lot of movies that come out, but a lot of them just kind of, I don't know if I'm going to
Like,
go watch those or not.
There's like
So,
5 things coming out Thanksgiving
yeah,
weekends.
like I think The Fablemans comes out, Devotion.
The new Knives Out movie's getting its
Yeah.
theatrical release. Then it's like,
Yeah, there's a
guys,
lot of stuff coming out.
Why at Thanksgiving? That's so busy. Like, I want to
They
see
do that
them
because
all, and not enough time.
family time. That's what that's about.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what I see out of those. And when we get in December, it gets kind of bleak. Not a lot coming out other than like Avatar. That's about it.
Yeah, Avatar's like the only high-profile thing in December. Oh, I am excited for Violent Night, that Santa Claus David Harbour movie. I'm pretty hyped for that one.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. As far as what I have coming up, I'm gonna review The Menu this week, and then I might only have an MCU ranking, which I'll probably do as a live stream before the end of the month. Otherwise, I'm just slammed in November. Don't have a whole lot of time with life and work and all that stuff, so I just don't really have a whole lot of time, unfortunately. But I'm gonna do what I can. So yes. So thank you everyone for watching. If you'd like to check out Ryan's channel, which you should, I'm pretty sure I put a link to it in the description. Otherwise, you can look up RWR movie reviews and check out what he's got. But yes, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.
Later, man.